Right, Ekahi method. You all know what you're here for. Everybody got the presentation. I assume I did email it late last night. As you know, I was just putting the final touches on it. It took a little longer than I thought. Turns out I have a lot to say about waves. So the plan for this presentation today, I've divided it up into 4 parts, as you can see up here. The first part is to discuss what is Ekahi. I need to remind, well, all of us what that word means. I know I've mentioned it a few times. As I was working in private practices and as I was starting in the college, I had made some contacts while living in Pennsylvania about doing a PhD. By this point in time, I had become really interested in waves. Talk about where this stuff comes from. First of all, the word Ekahi, it means one in a Hawaiian. Ekahi. It's a great word. A little bit difficult to pronounce at times. But Ekahi means one in Hawaiian. What is this one thing? It is to say that we are all connected. Whether you like it or not, we're all in this together. We're all connected. We're all connected by energy. And so let's talk about what is energy. What the heck is it? Well, believe it or not, as I said, it's used all the time. We all use it every single day. It's like, oh, I'm low on energy, or I'm feeling pretty energetic, or I'm feeling energized. But we really don't know what it means. In physics, it actually says it's the ability to do work. Did that help? Maybe a little. But then you have to ask yourself, what's work? Well, fortunately, this does help. Okay, we need to know a little bit about a wave. Most waves have this in common. In fact, we can say all of them have at least these 2 things in common. They have frequency, which is the number of times that wave moves up and back down to the starting position. So starting here, going all the way up and down in 1 second. So if it did it 1 cycle in 1 second, we call that 1 hertz. Hertz is the measurement of frequency, or sometimes called 1 cycle in a second. Amplitude is the height of that wave. So we take 2 waves of the same frequency, right? Can you agree that this wave looks a lot like this wave? And can you agree that these peaks line up and these troughs line up? Yeah. Well, the cool thing is when they line up, they get taller. This is a fact. Absolutely happens. Take 2 waves, same frequency, bring them together. This actually happens on the lake a lot. Let's get to the 5 parts of the Ekahi method. There are 5 parts. Number 1 is you need to discover what your base frequency is. You've already done that. It means, again, the rate at which you're producing your energy. Number 2 is sense the external frequencies in other people and environments. Once we do that, we get good at it, we need to then reset ourselves because it takes a lot out of us when we're around other people of different energies. We talked about how some environments drain us. We need to make sure that we reset every day. I'll talk about that. Frequency tuned for success, that was that piece about relationships. I'm going to show you how adjusting your own frequency, if you're a red, you can pretend to be a violet. And there's power in that. Big power in that. Real stuff. Nourish with resonant frequencies, that's the stuff I was saying earlier about how does music, exercise, food, and your environment affect you and affect
And then, the middle part. The rainbow in the middle. That whole part. What is energy? Does the cave constructive interference? Two ways.
Let's talk about just visual to begin with, and auditory. Let's say you're in a cafe. I put a blindfold on you, I put earplugs in you, and I sit you at a bar stool in a cafe. Busy coffee shop. You're sitting there. Somebody comes and sits beside you. How do you know, first thing?
Hair's done and on the back. Smell. You could smell that.
Detecting the waves from other people. Remember again that base frequency, your base frequency, red, yellow, green, blue, or violet, is just a measurement or a rate at which you produce your waves. What kind of waves are you giving off? And red people, you can see in this photo here, they tend to be the people who like to observe. Green, love greens. Greens love to lead a conversation. That picture of that person up there is green. Right, Rudy? Big handshake. Hi, how are you doing? I love violets. Violets are difficult to capture on film. They move fast. They are like the hummingbird. Right? They come get a drink, they go to the next line to get a drink, they go to the next line to get a drink. Yellows, they fit in between the reds and the blues. So they have some of these qualities where they're a little slow to get to know people that close down a little bit. Once they get to know you, they do like to talk. But they're going to be cautious. They're going to choose whether you really are going to listen. If you're blues, they're on the other side of the green. So they're a little bit like a violet and a green. Now these people are a lot of fun too. They are a very animated, active body language, and they're enthusiastic communicators. Number one, we start with eye contact. I walk into somebody and I want to energy match them. I look at their eyes, they look at mine, and I determine what they're doing with their eyes. It's very subtle. So I have a conversation with them, like, hey, how's things going? And when I'm in conversation, the longer I'm in conversation, I really match their breathing rate. It's critical, match their breathing rate. Rate and pitch of speech, this one's highly effective. If I get somebody in there talking really fast, the salesmen are good. The salesmen are great at this. Brett, you got to buy this car. It's a wonderful car. We've got auto locks. We got child support seats. We got the airbags. We got the front and back. You want airbags, right? You got kids, don't you, Brett? Yo, you're going to love this, man. And it's got four-wheel drive, the auto lock. And if I go, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, we're not, this guy's got me. He's just pounding me down. So I come back and I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. I do have kids, as a matter of fact. I'm really concerned with safety. I like to get child support seats. Do you have locks in the back? And I do that, so the guy's like, okay, well, okay, yeah. So now we're in a game, right? So I matched it. If the guy has a higher voice, I go higher too. So if he's like, Brett, you're going to love this thing. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, yes, I love it. I love the CD player too. Do you have what color is that? And I go in, and suddenly he's like, oh my God, this guy's like my friend. We're like buddies. Oh my God, we're exactly the same. I also then match their head position. So now I'm talking the same rate as them. I'm making eye contact and breathing the same way. And this guy then does this. It's like, oh my God, Brett, you're going to find this as a fascinating feature. I'm like, really? Tell me about it. Tell me all about it. And he doesn't notice, right? But he's like, there's just something I like about this guy. I love activity, okay? Where you got your hand up. Here's where we're going to do it a little different this time. This time, the person putting their hand down is going to close their eyes. The person starting above is going to frequency tune them. They're going to match them. You don't have to do it. Are you going to be the target?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to. Don't do anything. Hold up the legs. You close your eyes.
Okay, so I'm gonna match you.
Okay.
I don't. It could be. I don't know where it is. I gotta match you, friends.
Okay, we're going to finish up more or less with the natural zone. I've talked about your frequency a lot. Now I need to talk about your amplitude. Remember, those are the two parts. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to reset, and more or less we're going to finish up with spending time resonating with the stuff that makes you feel good. First of all of us ride it up and down. That's normal. You should not be up all the time. You should not be down all the time. Okay? Unfortunately, a lot of people are now on a bit of a trap, a medication trap, because they have been taught to believe that you need to feel up all the time. It's malarkey. It's an underused word too. You need to feel like you go up and down. That is normal. A lot of people would agree if I go out for a walk or a jog or whatever, go to the gym, you feel a little bit better. It kind of raises your energy. Foods or drinks, some of them, coffee perhaps temporarily, may do that, not recommended, but it will. certain foods, hot, spicy foods. If you are cycling too low, you'll complain of fatigue, depression, lethargy, heaviness, sluggishness, foggy brain, lack of concentration. If your energy is too high, you get anxious, you feel nervous. Living the Ekahi way means you become aware of how it feels to move in and out of your natural zone. That's what it's like to live the Ekahi method way. Since we're now becoming aware that you are surrounded by a sea of different energies, you're going to learn how you can move and fluctuate, as you've already learned. What does it feel like when you are not feeling well, you're out of your base frequency? Well, it feels like stress, right? How do you know you're not in your base frequency? High blood pressure, high respiratory rate, difficulty in sleeping. Chronically, you might have changes in weight, maybe headaches, increased muscle. When might you need to reset an emergency? Maybe you've been bullied around. Maybe you've been in a group of people that have too many different energies. You've taken it on. Maybe you've been involved in a heated argument. Maybe it's a traumatic event. Maybe you've witnessed a terrible, terrible scene and it's affected your energy. These are examples where you need to do it right now. How are you going to do it right now? Most of you know of this stuff. This stuff, believe it or not, is not lightweight material. These little things that I carry around with me work. And we talk about testing. We talk about placebo. Is there placebo? Positive effects of meditation or mindfulness. This is research supported, folks, and I can give you all the references if you want. Decrease your stress, decrease your anxiety, decrease your blood pressure. It has shown to be effective in depression, improvements in bipolar disease, and it will shrink your amygdala. I'm going to finish up with Nourishing with Resonant Frequencies, and we will close off with our mindfulness. Nourishing with Resonant Frequencies, believe it or not, folks, even things like food, music, all these other things have a wave. Penny Pierce, who wrote a book called Living the Intuitive Way, says that intuition, which is looking within, starts as a vibration and builds as a wave. And I believe that. Sleeping zone. I'm going to just mention this quickly. I know this picture is one of my favorites. Folks, with your sleeping only space, if you change one space in your room, close your eyes and picture you're perfect. This is my dream space, okay? Bring it into your bedroom. With one of my favorite pictures. This is Ekahi, who is the second most famous Hawaiian surfer. Fantastic story of Ekahi, who disappeared while trying to rescue a boatload of people in the ocean and disappeared from whence he came into the waves. On that note, I'd ask you just to place your hands onto your tummy, close your eyes for me, and let's just breathe together. Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.